Name is Amy Wright, and today we're going to be discussing HR measurement of child care assistant programs. This is a very important thing for many people as they try to balance the work-life experience. We're trying to make sure they're able to keep up with working as well as having a family. And because this is so important, this is why HR should be able to measure this and be able to provide this to people as a great benefit program for them. So basically, in the late last century, child care and elderly care has become very common and much needed options. Savings and benefits, stock plans, purchase plans, sabbatical leave, and educated reimbursements have been coming towards the forefront of having these benefits. Many programs like child care have been very pivotal when it comes to HR and benefits. And is that something very much to remind us that when it comes to this, that programs like this should always be considered for HR departments because it does have many different factors that can be able to help us with that. Also, as well too, when you look at the information, it's important to see how beneficial it is for these programs for a company as well as for the employee, but also seeing that there's a great way of us showing that, hey, there is a way for you to be able to measure this program and just show how beneficial it is. The information that I did see was that I did see that when it comes to this, there are several ways for you to measure HR to measure this HR program of childcare. And so a few of the information that I did receive did come from two websites as well as two articles that I did see, also from my book. And these helps out with how us to tell us how to manage this. Also as well too, it also discussed how the return of investment is important. It explains how to balance the work-life experience. It even the articles discuss why and how to measure return on investment. So this way you do know that if the child care program is actually being beneficial to the company. And one thing we want to know is why is it important to measure child care programs? A driving force behind an employee who wants to invest in family-friendly services is a business need of attracting and retaining talent in order to increase company productivity. It's important to make sure that the big picture is what we see as the most impactful to make business. Many companies, such as Propaganda, have started including in benefit packages child care benefits. This has become a very important recruitment and retention driver. And one of the most visible resources of pride and satisfaction that an HR department can have is when they organize, implement, or operates an HR program that has a results that are a positive return on investment when it comes up. And that is something that a company does look at is why is this a high return of investment for what we're putting into this. HR programs such as child care assistance is important for companies now to incorporate the work-life balance. Many people want to have a family and have a successful career, and that's one reason why that was one reason of choosing this topic. These programs not only help the company by balancing work-life experience, with many companies not being more focused on attracting and retaining top talent, they become more family friendly, and that is something very big within these companies that they want to be able to keep the top tier talent. And now, like I said, basically when it comes to it, a lot of companies are seeing that people are trying to balance work and life as well as being able to have that family and being able to support that family with having a very successful career. There, when it comes to it, one way that an organization measures the return on investment of a program, they want to see how other areas are affected. And so if an organization wants to stay competitive, many companies now are beginning to focus on making sure to attract and retain top talent. They have become this more family friendly. And so that is what you're going to see the two top benefits and two best ways sometimes to measure if this program is working. And when child care programs are benefiting, you're going to see you're going to see where you're retaining your employees longer and more employees by seeing the impact that some programs have on the bottom line in terms of employee retention. And it's very visible that it's an asset for recruiting and making sure with ongoing engagement. Also, to productivity, the program has been used to attract and retain that. And when you retain top employees, and when you do that, it also increases the company productivity because it also is taking some of the stress of having a family off of that person. One of the major takeaways of the child care program is the work, family, and the the balance that you have. When it comes to this, it's very important that when a program such as this nature is being introduced, is that you want to make sure that you're going to get the highest return of investment for it. And corporate childcare has a positive effect on employees. So when you have a positive effect on employees, it does allow for you as well too to be able to show those employees that, hey, we got you, we're taking care of you. So in this way, it does get them to produce higher and have higher productivity. And also, too, when it comes to it, working parents report that they are satisfied with on-site childcare because they are close to their children. A lot of times, one thing that can happen is that many people who are working, basically, when something comes up, they have to leave. They have emergencies. But with on-site childcare, they say it's beneficial because they're there and they're able to be there for the children. So then if something does happen, it's not where they're having to completely leave the job. At the same time, employees who are satisfied with this, the employees are seeing the benefits from increased organizational commitment, meaning that they want to stay here. They want to be with this company because, hey, this benefit of having childcare on site is great, or this benefit of having another childcare program is benefiting that employee. That does have reduce the intention for them to quit. Whereas a family supported companies help working parents to reduce to have the conflicts of the conflicts of having a family and working. So there's many ways on how to measure it. One thing is to make programs like these to make sure they do have a high return on investment. It's important for employers to make sure they're communicating with the employees. Some types of communication companies will use is email announcements, information meetings, and brochures. One of the most popular ways to communicate is benefits fairs, and that is something that many companies have started doing. This usually set up during open enrollment periods for employees to see the benefits they have and making sure that they're sending out surveys so they can make sure when they're sending out these surveys that, hey, is this something that is actually working? Is the employee actually satisfied with this program? Because when your employee is satisfied, it goes into the next one. Productivity is a major impact. And when productivity is high, this is a great thing to have because it's making the business better and making the strategic goals set by the company. As long as a program is making sure that it is setting a strategic goal, that is meeting the strategic goal of the company, then that's one great way to make sure that it's being measured and that it's being measured properly. And that not even just that, but also too that it's a great benefit for the company. And if you see that most of the time, if you see that is a great option to have. When HR measures if a child care program is working, they look at the return on investment. Is the program meeting the strategic goals of the company? Return on investments represents the comparison of actual cost of HR program to its monetary benefits by using basically the same ratio that accounts have been using to show the return on investment on equipment and buildings. Many companies have seen a significant impact on the return on investments when it comes to the child care programs. So, for instance, JP Morgan and Chase says that they see has an estimated return of 150% of its child care program when it comes to that. Clients earn a return on investment of almost 125%. For also too, for the past 5 years, Propaganda have seen 100% of moms return to work after maternity leave. And then the CEO explains the wide variety of many programs' costs are recouped by providing childcare support, such as the tax benefit, the employee retention, and the employee engagement. Also, too, in the total cost is actually at 91%, which is very important when it comes to making sure that the return on investment is big and making sure that you're able to measure the child care programs to make sure it's actually benefiting and that the HR department is actually benefiting as well as the company. When it comes to it, the recommendations that can be made is that this would be a great company to be offered to employees for benefits, especially if they're trying to retain them, or also as well too is making sure that they're trying to keep keeping top-notch talent. Also, too, it's a very great benefit to offer to employees because at the end of the day, when you have an increase in productivity and you're meeting strategic goals of a company, it's important that, hey, let's offer a benefit that's going to make sure that drives those two up. And so with that, and because it has been shown that this does have a high rate of return, meets the strategic goals, also does help with productivity, it's the reason why you can recommend this to the company. But it does have its drawbacks. Employers' main concerns have always been and will pretty much always be salaries, their raises, and what other benefits that they could possibly have. And what sometimes happens is that they tend to forget the additional benefits they have until it's time for them to be used. And as a result, sometimes companies will say that the organization does not receive a healthy return on the investment of this benefit program. But like I stated prior, is that it's very important for you to have for a company to have communication with their company, with their employees, to let them know what benefits they have. So that way the company is making sure that they do see a higher return of investment for the child care programs that they do offer to employees. In conclusion, by seeing the impact of this kind of program and others on the bottom line in terms of employee retention, it's become very more valuable asset to the company for recruiting and ongoing engagement. These programs not only help the company, but it also helps balance the work and life balance that the company that many people see. At the same time, if employees are satisfied with the care situation of the children, employees benefits from increased organization commitment, meaning that they're not going anywhere, they're staying there, retention, engagement, and it also reduces the intentions to quit. And that way that companies are being competitive in making sure they're keeping that top talent within them. And this right here are the references that was used to present this PowerPoint presentation.